Hello, welcome to the Untitled SEO podcast by SEO. I'm your host, Andrew Laws. This is officially day one of my daily podcasting experiment. Yesterday I did a little intro while I was out at a coaching day, but today is the first proper episode. Now, my intention with these episodes is usually to share some information that I've just learned or a perspective that I think might be interesting to people who are interested in SEO or digital marketing as a whole, whether you're a professional or whether you've had digital marketing thrust upon you. Today's episode is more about fraud than anything else. There's some interesting sort of scam developments, and I hate the whole scam world thing. I think it's made the consumer hyper alert to possible scams, which is a very, very positive thing. But unfortunately, the people who are actually scamming successfully are doing it in quite insidious ways. So my example from today, here at SEO, we've had some inquiries over the last few months that look incredibly exciting. So it'll be from a very big brand. And the emails are coming through contact forms. So it's not just, random spam. And they'll say things like, "Hi, we need to speak to you about running a $20,000 a month advertising campaign," or "We've got an SEO budget of £50,000 a month," just like crazy figures that straight off the bat make me look at it and go, yeah, right. I figured there's something amiss with this. So the first one, I did actually reply and say, "Okay, let's have a meeting. Let's talk." This is standard response when we get an inquiry. And amazingly, the person did book a meeting, but they didn't show up. The next one came through and I thought, look, I know this is junk. So I tracked down the person who made the inquiry on LinkedIn. And yes, the person's name on the inquiry, that person does exist, and they are, the marketing director or whatever for this big multinational brand. So I contacted them and said, "I appear to have had an inquiry from you." And they said, "No, that's fraud, ignore it." So I did, but not before just sending an email back, possibly foolishly, saying, "Yeah, sure, can I have more information?" And what I received back was an official brand guideline document from the brand in question, which, these things are generally available just on the website to download. A few random spreadsheets, which I opened very, very carefully, opened them as CSVs, with some, what I guess was someone's PPC report, and also it contained was a zip file that had inside it an executable. Now, it was an executable for a Windows computer and the executable was called budget details. So I'm guessing people are supposed to open that and then their computer gets a backdoor or something like that. I just had another one today from another very big brand. And what I've noticed today is that I noticed before actually that the email address that you get the inquiry from, or the email address used in the inquiry, is always a subtle variant on the actual official address. So where, for example, our contact form says share your email address, your web address, they do, and that's the real one, but the email address is slightly wrong. Now, that's not that unusual. So the one I had today was, I'm not going to mention the brand, bigbrand.com. And yet the email address is person's name at bigbrand-uk.com, which is not that unusual to see that kind of variant with really big brands. So I did a WHOIS lookup on the domain, and the domain is like 2 weeks old. I don't think a multinational has just shifted their emails to a new domain 2 weeks ago. Again, I looked them up. I looked up the person's name on LinkedIn. Yeah, they exist. But this seems sort of quite unpleasant and insidious because it's not the old-fashioned blanket attack where you might be one of millions of people receiving the email. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of people receiving these at the moment, and I put some feelers out amongst some peers in the digital marketing world. But that's just very targeted. That means somebody is going through lists of, in this case, SEO agencies, and manually filling out forms. I'd love to hear, that's the end for today's episode, basically, just to be aware, although I think a lot of my peers and a lot of other people I know in the industry wouldn't launch an executable from a sketchy source anyway. So that's the end of today's episode. Please get in touch if you've had something similar. I'm just sort of curious about these things. Let me know. Anyway, also let me know what you think of this new style of daily SEO podcast. Thank you for listening. Please, I was going to say rate and subscribe. Please go and make yourself a cuppa and take the rest of the day off. There you go. Thanks. I've been Andrew Laws from SEO. I will continue to be Andrew Laws from SEO for a good few years. Thank you for listening. Or if you're on YouTube, thank you for watching.